Another Vertigo book. This is AIR Letters from Lost Countries, an interesting read that nevertheless doesn't necessarily live up to the rave review quotes on the back. Anyways, as I said, this is a Vertigo book, DC's more mature imprint, but it's not like this book is crazy R-rated. Sure, there are a few F-bombs thrown about along with some other swear words, but no real gore or extreme violence. So, as a whole, I'm gonna say this is one of the most tame Vertigo books I've ever read. Also, it just so happens to be one of my least favorite. AIR Letters from Lost Countries collects AIR 1 through 5, written by Willow Wilson and drawn by M.K. Parker, and follows Blythe, an acrophobic flight attendant. She's scared of heights, and she's a flight attendant. Irony. But there's a reason for it, and the mystery surrounding even that minuscule thing is addressed. Because that's AIR's selling point. Mystery. Blythe is approached by a group called the Adhesion Front, an anti-terrorist group, for help. Okay, sounds cool, but they're vigilantes, and as such, they're not above hijacking planes to stop the hijacking of other planes. More irony. But Blythe meets a guy named Zane, who appears to work for another group that opposes the Adhesion Front. But all of this is not as it seems, as you find out as you read, and the book is also not as it seems as you keep reading. It starts out fairly realistic, but quickly delves into fantasy while also keeping a facade of taking place within the realistic world. And I actually really like that kind of setting where the fantasy is interwoven through the real world. I mean, I love Harry Potter, but strangely enough, I did not love this book. It's just kind of all over the place. As I said, the book delves into different territory, but it doesn't transition too well. The mystery surrounding all these fantastic events is cool, but it's kept up for such a long time after explosive action that reveals this separate world that it really just feels more like the author just isn't telling the reader things rather than going through the story with the character. Where this works, though, is in the character of Zane. And this is also where some romance comes in. Anyways, Zane's unknown group is best kept at an unknown throughout this book, especially since he may not love Blythe as much as he says he does. Or he might, you just don't know, and it works. But beyond all that criticism, the book is actually fairly interesting. Characters and their development are certainly strong. The last issue creates a cool steampunk-ish vibe that also traces back to the Aztecs. And that's pretty awesome. But, like the writing, art can be awesome, but just not, always. M.K. Parker creates a look that really fits the storytelling and can look really great at times, but sometimes the art can just look weird. But in all honesty, the art really isn't as hit and miss as the writing. So, as a whole, AIR Letters from Lost Countries is a strange combination of cool and not so cool in regards to both writing and art. But, despite my criticisms against it, it's definitely worth a read just for its unique take on air travel and fantasy. Plus, this cover is probably one of the coolest covers I've ever seen, period, just ever.